If he loses, man, what? You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
Yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think, will I see my children? I don't know.
because it's not like you can say, well, yeah, I maxed out to him, but, you know, I were
I have no plausible deniability. No, and I've been trashing Kamala nonstop.
Oh, I know.
Well, the Kamala puppet, I call her, you know. The machine that the Kamala puppet represents.
Yeah, she's irrelevant. I mean, she's not even.
No, I made a joke which I realized I deleted, which is like nobody's even bothering to try to kill Kamala because it's pointless. What do you achieve? Nothing.
No, it's totally
Just find
right.
another puppet.
Exactly. That's
It's no point in killing.
it's deep and true, though.
Nobody's trying to kill Joe Biden. It would be
bless you.
pointless.
Totally. You actually put that up?
Yeah. Now, some people interpreted it as though I was calling for people to
Of course.
assassinate her, but I was like, no, even I was like, doesn't it seem strange that no one's even bothered to try?
It's not worth it.
I mean,
There's an endless supply.
yeah, like nobody would. It's absurd.
It could be anybody.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna try to. Nobody tries to assassinate a puppet.
Of course not. A marionette.
Yeah, marionette. It's just like,
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
What?
She's safe. Like, I like to try to kill Trump twice with actual guns and bullets.
Oh yeah.
Shot in the ear right in fucking Butler where I was, and
He doesn't seem rattled. It's weird. Does he to you?
it doesn't seem what?
Rattled.
He's the constitution of an ox. It seems. So it's not like working out and eating healthy. And he's
Okay, we gotta tape this.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, good. Yeah. So
he's not like let me eat another salad. That's not. No, or work out. Fastidiously. That's he. I feel like hell he doesn't work out and he eats cheeseburgers and Diet Coke and stuff. And because I think it just inherently has a strong constitution.
So when you were just with him, he didn't seem like a man who'd been the subject of 2 assassination attempts.
No, he seemed of sound mind and body and strong backbone.
Did you?
That's what I said in the thing. Which,
Yeah.
The remarks I made there were impromptu. There was no teleprompter or anything. I was speaking extemporaneously.
Are you the only rich guy who doesn't have like a media consultant?
No, I don't media consultant.
Yeah, no, I've noticed.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I just thought about what I want to say, and I just spoke off the cuff. No teleprompter, nothing.
Good for you.
Yeah. I can talk. Just look like now. I'm just talking. Look at me. Wow, amazing. Can you believe it? I can talk without a teleprompter. That's crazy.
But if he loses, it's going to be hard for you to pretend you never supported him.
All in. In the deep end.
Yeah, no, you are definitely in the deep end. You cannot touch bottom.
No, I'm like rolling around. I'm like a pig in mud. I'm like, it's all in, baby.
Is it fun?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
How hard?
I mean, there may be some, in the hopefully unlikely event that he loses, there may be some vengeance on me.
Were you kidding?
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible? You've got to be one of the biggest government contractors.
We do essential work for the government.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not like, we do useful essential work.
Right.
That we compete for and win contracts on because our product is much better and costs less. That's why we get government contracts.
No, I know.
and I mean, if you take, for example, the NASA contract to transport astronauts to and from the space station, NASA awarded 2 contracts at the start, one to Boeing and one to SpaceX. Boeing was awarded twice as much as SpaceX. SpaceX has done all the astronaut transport from the space station, and and Boeing has only done one transport of 2 astronauts to the space station, and we had to bring them back. Boeing got twice as much as SpaceX. There's this total misunderstanding that my companies have been subsidized and supported by the government and get all these, and it's like, do you really think that a Biden administration is going to subsidize me?
Probably not.
Are you kidding? No. In fact, they take away every contract they possibly can. So, for example, there was the FCC contract to $42 billion for providing rural broadband.
Yes.
Okay. We actually first said, look, we think there shouldn't be any subsidies, so we recommend that this program just not exist. But since you're insisting that it exists, we will compete, and we have better products. So we won, I don't know, about a quarter of it, which would have included the devastated areas like North Carolina and stuff. And the FCC took it away illegally. They just voted. 3 out of 5 commissioners voted away and said, even though you want it, we're rescinding it. And
on what grounds?
And do you know how many people they've connected?
How many?
0.
So, you think that was political?
Well, the 3 Democrats voted against it, and the 2 Republicans voted for it.
So you tried to get Starlink. You tried to get Starlink
Yes.
into North Carolina, into Western North Carolina, the areas devastated by the hurricane.
We have got it. It is in there, and it is the primary means of communication in the devastated areas.
You had conflict with Buttigieg over this.
Well, I raised I said, look, we had delivered. We've been delivering Starlink terminals there for a while, and obviously some people already had them since they just, private individuals had Starlink there already. We delivered really thousands of terminals, and got all the way up to the areas where they wouldn't let us go any further, and then we were like, okay, we're going to send helicopters in, and find people who are stranded and give them Starlink terminals, which I think is a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. They wouldn't let us land because there was an FAA notice to M and NOTAM that said in order to land, you have to know who you're going to meet with to land. Now, the problem is we're trying to deliver internet communications. People don't have internet communications. We don't know who they are, but then they can't reach us because they don't have communications. Do you see the catch-22 here?
Yes, I do.
Insane. So it's obviously impossible for people who don't have internet communications to let us know who they are because they don't have the internet.
Yes.
Yes. And so,
did you explain this to the federal government?
yes.
What did
Yes.
they say?
They fixed it.
How was Buttigieg when you talked to him?
It was actually good. So I want to
Yeah.
I want to give Buttigieg some credit here.
Yes.
First, when I complained about it, he reacted in a very level-headed way, and he reached out to me and he called me.
Yeah.
And we discussed the issue, got to the bottom of it, and he fixed it.
Good.
So credit to Buttigieg.
Yeah. Well, and to you for pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, but as soon as he was aware of the problem, he fixed it.
Well, you publicized it too on it.
Yeah.
As soon as you shamed him.
Well, but I do want to give credit where it's due.
Yeah. No. Amen.
So-
I agree completely. So, but back to the original question. About the potential consequences if, having gone all in, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have thought about this long and hard before you did it. What was your thinking?
I mean, yeah, so my view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. That the Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. So like from the Democrat-administered government websites. Like, where do you get this data? From the government website that is run by Democrats. There are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states. And in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now, these swing state margins are, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put, hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state? And when somebody is granted asylum, they are fast-tracked. They can get a green card, and then 5 years after the green card, they can get citizenship and they can fully legally vote. And when they do so, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And sometimes I get this rebuttal of like, well, a lot of them, their social values don't align with sort of the far left sort of woke ideology. Yeah. I said that's true, but that's not their top priority. Their top priority is getting their friends and family also to the United States. And the Dems also issue all these programs, these sort of handouts, essentially, that make them beholden to the Democratic Party. So they vote Dem. That's what happens. So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states. And we'll be a single-party country, just like California is a single-party state. It's a supermajority Dem state in California.
Because of immigration?
Yes. California was fairly reliably Republican.
Bill Clinton lost California in '92 and won West Virginia.
Yes. So there was a 1986 amnesty.
Yes.
Thereafter, California trended very strongly Dem, and is at this point, I think, 65-70% Dem, something like that. It's supermajority Dem. The California legislature is more than 2/3 Democrat.
Has it improved the state?
No, it's not. And California just passed, which is shocking. It's hard to believe this is even real, but California just passed a law making it illegal to require voter ID in any election at all in California. You know that?
No.
Yeah, Newsom signed it into law last week.
It's illegal to require an ID.
In any election, even a town council. And a friend of mine who lives in Palo Alto was like, is this actually real? And he went to like vote in like some city council election. He tried to show them his ID, and they said, we're not even allowed to look at your ID.
Have they extended the same?
Actually, what's going on right now.
But
by the way, they're proud of it. They're not hiding it.
But it's only voting. It's not buying a gun or buying liquor or buying a pack of cigarettes or flying on an airplane or renting a hotel room. It's only voting that it's illegal to do.
Oh, if you try to buy a gun, I mean, they're going to ID you 6 ways a Sunday. Yeah, California's trying to make it basically illegal to own a gun. And the same people that demanded vaccine IDs if you want to travel or do anything are the same ones who say no voter ID is required.
Is there any reason
obviously hypocritical
to pass a law like that except to abet voter fraud?
It's so that fraud cannot be proven. So it enables large-scale fraud and no way to prove it, because how would you prove it? It's literally impossible. No ID. You're not even allowed to show your ID. It's insane.
Well, it is insane.
Insane. So, yeah. The purpose of no voter ID is obviously to conduct fraud in elections. Obviously.
There can be no other explanation.
I mean, they come up with some nice-sounding thing.
People don't have IDs. Could you live in this country without an ID?
Yeah, I mean, their common rebuttal is like it's racist to require ID, and which is insane. I think it's actually racist and patronizing to say that people can't figure out how to get ID. Obviously.
But how could you live here without an ID? I don't think it's even possible.
Can't.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You need ID for everything. Like the list of things you need ID for is basically everything, except voting. So
you see the rest of the country.
It's total bullshit, obviously.
Obviously.
Yes.
But that doesn't in any way minimize the aggression or self-righteousness they bring to this conversation.
Yes.
You're a racist if you want that.
Right. Whereas, in fact, obviously, someone is racist if they say that people of a particular race cannot get ID. That's patronizing and racist. That's absurd.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's like when the governor of New York said people in the, ghetto don't know how to use computers or something like that. I mean, like, super out of touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
it's like, hello.
So there's a really clear template.
Maybe she doesn't know how to use computers, but they do, obviously.
I don't think Hochul could use a computer.
Yeah, I don't think
she's not qualified intellectually.
Yeah, no, probably not.
But not everyone in New York is as dumb as Kathy Hochul. I think that's true.
Yeah.
So you see the other 49 states becoming California if the machine wins?
Well, you don't need all 49 to go that way. You just need enough to have the election, have there not be swing states. I mean, there are only 6 swing states.
Yep.
So there are only 6 states out of 50 right now that are in contention. So if those 6 states that are in contention by narrow margins are no longer in contention, then the only contest will be for who wins the Democratic primary. That's how it is in California. That's how it is in New York. There's no party versus party situation. The only contest is who wins the Democratic primary. And as we've seen with the appointment of Kamala, who no one voted for, even in a Democratic primary.
Yes.
Where's the democracy here?
Well, it's easier though.
I mean, it's just that the Dem Party elite just decides who is in charge. That's a tiny oligarchy basically.
Comprised of.
That's not democracy.
The richest people in the country. That's kind of the interesting part to me, is that the richest people in the country are on board with this. I mean, that's what it is. It's a collection of billionaires.
Well,
right?
most of them are, yeah.
But you're not.
Not me, and not everyone is. I think there's, but it is a shocking number of so-called billionaires are in the Dem camp, more than are in the Republican camp.
Oh, for sure.
Which is wild. So in fact, the astonishing thing in the swing states is that they're even a contest, given that the Dems have far more money than the Republicans. So the Kamala campaign dramatically outspends the Trump campaign in the swing states. The media is overwhelmingly pro-Democrat. So you've got the press is a Dem cheering squad, so. And then you've got almost all the Hollywood and entertainment, the celebrities also, endorsing Kamala and being pro-Dem. So you got the celebrities, they got the money, they got basically everything on the side of the Dems. The Republicans are the underdog here. Trump's the underdog in swing states, and still it's a contentious. It's still a 50-50. After all that,
what does that tell you?
It tells me that if people actually knew what was going on, they weren't being fed nonstop propaganda, it would be a landslide in favor of Republicans.
Yeah. But why not join the easier side? I mean, you're creating problems for yourself by getting on stage with Trump. I mean, you must have had friends who said that to you.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people care about you. Like, why even get involved in this?
Well, because I think we want to remain a democracy, and we don't want to become a one-party state.
Yes.
That's the reason. And it's the exact opposite. The people call Trump a threat to democracy. And the people who are saying Trump's a threat to democracy are themselves the threat to democracy.
Yes.
One-party rule is not democracy. One party where essentially the party elite pick a candidate, as happened with Kamala, is not democracy. Where did the people vote? Show me where the people voted. No, there were no people voting. It was all just Dem party elite that just appointed someone. And and when the Biden puppet, when the pro-Biden puppet's ratings sagged, they knocked him in the back immediately and just tossed him out, and put a new puppet on. That's exactly what happened. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, not only you're right, I mean, it's almost not even worth criticizing Kamala Harris.
No, exactly.
What does she have to do with it?
There's no point in criticizing Kamala. She's simply the face of a much larger machine.
Yes.
And she will say whatever the teleprompter, whatever's on the teleprompter, she's going to say it.
Yes.
Now she gets stuck if the teleprompter breaks. That happened recently. I think the teleprompter stalled, and she was just like looping for a while, for about a minute. So I think that happened yesterday or something. It was pretty funny to watch. But she'll just say whatever words are on the teleprompter. So, it's really whoever controls the teleprompter is the actual sort of, that's who's actually in charge.
And who is that, do you think?
Well, I've tried to pin it down. It's not like any one kind of mastermind. It's not like, it seems to be, it's like Kamala's sort of a marionette with, 1,000 puppet masters type of thing. Like or maybe it's somewhere north of 100 is what it seems like.
Yes. I bet you know 80 of them.
I probably know most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just by virtue of your job and what you've been doing for the last 30 years, I mean, you just, and I should say, I think you voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know. It's mind-blowing that they've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They've not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Well, because they have a lot of diabetic grandmothers who were outside the Capitol on January 6th. They're kind of occupied.
Yeah, they've put like, whatever, 500 or 600 January 6th protesters in prison, and not one person on the Epstein client list.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Does he seem nervous to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's terrified of a Trump victory.
Because of the disclosure that would follow?
I think he's certainly ideologically not aligned with Trump anyway, but I think he is concerned about the Epstein situation. Like the DOJ might actually move forward.
There are a lot of videos, apparently. Those rooms on the island, and I think out in New Mexico, were wired for video.
Right.
And
where's the video? Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that the people on those videos are lecturing the rest of us about our moral failings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
What is that?
Well, I mean, part of how they deflect attention from themselves is by criticizing the morals of others.
Yes.
So it's sort of like a preemptive moral strike.
Yes.
I mean, as I said, I think those who are saying Trump is a threat to democracy are themselves actually the threat to democracy.
It feels like we're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's easier to live in a society where you don't really know what the people in charge are doing or why they're doing it. But now, thanks, I would say, largely to X.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say that.
Yeah.
We do know a lot. Not everything, but we know a lot. And I wonder, where does that, like, what happens next now that we know all this? The kidnapper's shown us his face. Like, what happens?
Well, I think if Trump wins, we can do some house cleaning, and shed light on things. All the X platform does is adhere to freedom of speech within the bounds of the law.
Yes.
And if people want to change the laws, they can change the laws. And so, like X in different countries, X does censor in countries where censorship is the law. We don't try to, push American laws in other countries, but we do try to stick to the law in any given country. That's what we're doing. We open source our algorithm. We try to be as transparent as possible. But those who want to push lies obviously hate truth and transparency.
Yes.
Because it shows them to be liars. I mean, you look at that, like how outrageous it was that Kamala in the presidential debate kept pushing the Fine People hoax. They know the Fine People hoax is false. Trump would never support Nazis, a Nazi rally. It's absurd. And he explicitly said that in that same speech that you must condemn anyone who has Nazi tendencies with in the strongest possible terms. And yet, despite knowing that to be false, the people who wrote the speech for the Kamala puppet put the Fine People hoax in the presidential debate. Deliberately lying. Again. Messed up.
If she wins, I mean, how can they let X continue in its current form, in its current role in American society?
They won't. They will try to shut it down by any means possible.
What do you mean by any means possible?
I mean, with law, either via, they'll try to pass laws. They'll try to prosecute the company, prosecute me. The amount of lawfare that we're seeing taking place is outrageous. There are many examples, but like the Department of Justice, for example, launched a huge lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers.
Come on.
Yeah,
asylum seekers?
Not asylum, those who've been granted asylum seekers. Now there's also a law called International Traffic and Arms Regulations that because SpaceX develops advanced missile technology that can be used in nuclear ICBMs, that we have to be very careful with who we hire. We can only hire someone if they're a permanent resident or a citizen. That's what the ITAR law says. Then there's another law that says that you cannot discriminate against asylum seekers. So we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The DOJ did a massive lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers, even though it is illegal for us to hire asylum seekers under ITAR law. This is an actual thing that's going on, and they can only do a fairly small number of lawsuits every year. So why did they pick this one?
Because you own X.
Yeah, lawfare.
I mean,
it's like that famous quote from Beria. Stalin's like chief torturer and head of the secret police. Beria said, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
Exactly.
I mean, we have so many laws that it is actually impossible to, impossible to do business, impossible to operate without being violating some law, because you have laws like the ones I just gave you, where both things are illegal.
Yes, they contradict one another.
They contradict one another. So it's illegal to discriminate against asylum seekers in jobs, but it's also illegal for us to hire asylum seekers.
But it discredits the law.
They just chose one. They chose the one law, and ignored the other one. And the Department of Justice at federal level prosecuted SpaceX for that.
What do you think?
It's mad.
Well, it also discredits the idea of law, which some of us want to take seriously.
Absolutely. This affects both the perception of American justice and the reality of it.
Yes.
No, I'm actually a big fan of the American justice system, and I think on balance, we've got still have an excellent judicial system. We still have judges that care about the letter and intent of the law. I mean, not just the letter, but also the intent of the law.
Yes.
But something that people should be concerned about is that there's an increasing movement to place activists as judges. This is, if you look at who did the Biden administration confirm as federal judges, and who've been confirmed at the state level in sort of following states, increasingly it is not judges who care about justice, or they don't care about following the law. They care about social justice, not justice.
Right.
What they call social justice. Activists as judges. Now you got a real problem.
Do you think if
that continues, we will not have a real justice system
or a real country?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. But again, your purchase of X has been, I think it's fair to say, even if I hated it, I would say this because it's true, it's been pivotal in American politics.
Yeah.
And in American society. Do you think they could shut you down if the Democrats continue to hold power?
They will unequivocally try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they get a majority in the Senate and House and the presidency, then they can simply pass a law and delete Section 230. So simply make us liable for what anyone says on a platform with like at this point almost 600 million monthly active users.
Yeah.
Which is impossible. That's like trying to regulate speech in city of like a country.
Yeah.
So
a big country.
Yeah, you'd just be instantly bankrupt.
But I bet they wouldn't withdraw legal immunity from the vaccine makers at the same time, would they?
No. That's unlikely.
I mean, as long as we're withdrawing legal liability protection. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole vaccine debate is a long one. I'm not anti-vaccine in general. I think we want to exercise caution with use of vaccines, but in the absence of vaccines, there would be a lot more, I think, people that have died. Like we want the smallpox vaccine. That was a good one.
It seems a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Smallpox will kill you.
Killed a lot of people.
It killed a lot of people. It used to be a lot of people would die of smallpox, and a lot of people would get polio.
For sure.
Yeah. We had a president who had polio.
Oh yeah. There's still people. You meet people today.
Yeah.
In their 80s who were limping from childhood polio.
Right. It's good that we don't have that, and vaccines, played a major role in that. So that doesn't mean that vaccines should not have any scrutiny. Of course they should. We should be making sure that the quality control on vaccines is incredibly good, since if we're giving them to children and whatnot. And we shouldn't force people to take vaccines.
That itself is a controversial statement, that we shouldn't force people.
We shouldn't force people to take vaccines, no.
Yeah. So just to re-ask,
I believe in freedom.
Yeah, I've noticed.
America's supposed to be the land of liberty.
Yeah.
Freedom and opportunity. So that we try to, as much as possible, maximize people's individual liberty, and that we try to be a country where you succeed based on your talent and hard work.
Yes.
Those are two fundamental values. That's what's made America great, and if we lose those, our decline will be swift.
What do you, if you had to bet? I mean, does freedom reassert itself in America, or not?
Well, that's why I think part of why this election is so pivotal. I think if with the Trump administration, I think we can improve the liberty of Americans. We can I think we need to have sensible deregulation, where we keep the regulations that matter. Like we don't want to destroy, important habitats or
Yes.
Encourage oil spills or anything like that. But there are so many regulatory agencies that have overlapping responsibility that we are smothering progress. And we can't build a high-speed rail in America. You look at the ridiculous high-speed rail project in California, where they've spent $7 billion, and all they've got to show for it is a 1,600-foot section of concrete with no rails on it. There's a picture of it online.
So it's not that fast yet. We wouldn't say it's high speed at this point, or even rail.
It doesn't even have rail on it. Maybe by now they put some rail on it, but it's this comically small section of rail. $7 billion has been spent, most of it in like environmental consulting and I don't know where, but clearly not in building high-speed rail. So we've got, there are so many different regulatory agencies and so many laws and regulations that prevent progress that if this continues, we simply won't be able to get anything done.
It does seem like the engineers are not getting rich. It's the environmental consultants, the climate consultants, the DEI consultants. A whole consultant class seems to be getting richer by the year, where people with actual skills, the ones that bring actual progress.
Useful things, products and services that you can use.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a trend.
Things that if you were like traveling on a desert island, you'd want those people.
Right.
But you wouldn't want environmental consultants.
They seem undercompensated.
It's like you're going to starve.
Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like who are actual builders that get things done, and every year we're making it harder in America for actual builders to get things done. We're in this like weird Ayn Rand Atlas Shrugged scenario, where it's there's yet another regulation, yet another rule, and there's sort of that phrase in Atlas Shrugged, you'll manage. It's like eventually you're like, can't get anything done.
Why the hostility though toward people with meaningful skills? It's not a neutral posture they have.
Yeah.
And they're enriching themselves obviously by creating fake jobs because they have no skills, and they don't have creative power. So I understand that. But why do they hate people who do have creative power and actual skills? I don't understand that.
I'm not sure I understand it either, because it's difficult for me to put myself in a mindset. Because I'm someone who believes in construction. I build things. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I build cars. I build rockets. I build satellite internet. I've spent thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours in factories, building up factories. So. I can't really put myself in the mind of say, someone who would want to do crime, because I don't want to do crime.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt. There's some people who enjoy hurting other people. I don't enjoy hurting other people. So I have a hard time imagining why would somebody do that.
Yes.
In an extreme case, you can't put yourself in the mind of like, say, a Jeffrey Dahmer, where you're like a cannibalistic serial killer, because you're not a cannibalistic serial killer.
Right.
You're like, I don't get it.
It's not a fetish you can relate to.
It's not. I do think this is that in the sort of well-meaning sort of liberal mindset. I know I have many good friends who have they have deep empathy for their fellow human beings.
Good.
And they care. But the challenge that they have is that they've often grown up in a very sheltered existence, where everyone around them is nice and civilized, and they just really don't encounter people who are have uncontrolled violent tendencies, or like hurting people. They've just always grown up in a sort of kumbaya, everyone is nice, hippie commune situation.
Minneapolis pre-riots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. But there's a small number of people. It's like a few percent of society that either can't have anger management issues that are so severe that they lose their temper and hurt or murder others. And there's a small. It's like I said, it's not a large number that enjoy hurting other people. And if you do not incarcerate them, they will do that. So they will hurt other people. And what I see is what I call shallow empathy. Like people have empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims of the criminals.
Yes.
And so if you simply have, and I believe one should have deep empathy to say, like, what is the greater good for society? Is it better to incarcerate violent criminals and prevent them from hurting people, or to let them loose and allow those people to be hurt? And I think the latter is much worse. You know, my mom lives in New York, and it's my mom at this point has gone from being Democrat to Republican, and her friends in New York are having the same experience, because you know what'll turn you from a Democrat to a Republican pretty fast is getting punched in the face while you walk down the street.
Yes. For no reason.
Yes, and then no action being taken against those who hurt you.
And that happened to your mom?
Not to my mother, but to 3 of her friends this year.
Why would someone punch them in the face?
I don't know. But I'm not a face puncher.
Right, no.
You know. But if you walk around the streets of San Francisco and many downtowns, so they go to downtown Philadelphia right now, you know, they call the people homeless, but the homeless is the wrong term. Violent drug zombie.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, you know, you look at them, you say, like, homeless is a misnomer. It implies that someone got a little behind on their mortgage, and if you just offered them a job, they'd be back on their feet.
Yeah.
No, but if you go and look at downtown Philly or San Francisco or parts of New York, and actually most downtowns, what you actually have are violent drug zombies. So they're like shuffling down the street with dead eyes, you know, and with like needles, you know, and human feces on the streets. I mean, you've been to downtown SF, right? Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, I was born there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Oh yes, the greatest.
And now you have to step over the drug needles and the feces and the bodies. Like one couple I met, the final straw for leaving San Francisco was they came home one night and there was a dead body in front of their garage. They couldn't get their car in, couldn't park their car.
Because the corpse.
And yeah, there's no street parking. They're like, because there's a corpse in front of the garage, and they don't want to move the corpse, you know, because like, well, you know, you're like, maybe they need to like figure out why the guy died or something, you know.
That's the faith. That's liberal compassion, though.
They're in a bit of a quandary because they got no place to park a car, and they feel that they shouldn't really move the dead body. So they called 911 and said, "There's a dead body outside our house," and they said, "Well." The 911 San Francisco says, "Well, are you in danger right now?" It's like, "Well, no, he's dead." He's pretty sure he's dead. And they're like, "Okay, we'll send someone tomorrow to pick up the body." Like, what do you mean tomorrow? So they're like going in and out of their house while there's a dead body outside right in front of their house, you know, and like it took them like 24 hours or something like that to eventually pick up the body, and they're like, "The hell with this, we're leaving."
And did they?
Yes. By the way, there's a million anecdotes like that.
Oh, I know, but I just don't think
this is not rare.
It's it's ubiquitous, and so then you wonder, like, how can people still tell themselves they're compassionate if
this
they're
is what I'm
allowing
saying
that?
is that people really just need to think more. I believe in being compassionate about.
Of course,
I believe that we should care about our fellow human beings. I think this is a good thing.
Of course,
we should not be selfish and not care about others. We should care about others, but we should just care about others, all things considered. Like I said, care not merely just about the criminals. It's just one layer deep. You should also care about the criminals' victims.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, especially the criminals' victims.
Yes. Innocent people who get attacked and killed. So, I mean, I got so many anecdotes. I mean, you know, like about a year ago, there were 3 Twitter employees who were just leaving the building and walking down Mark Street in San Francisco. Mark Street used to be a beautiful, wonderful street.
Of course.
Obviously, it's called Market Street because that's where the market was.
Right.
Now it's boarded up shop windows and stuff, and they were chased by a guy with an axe. Who wanted? They outran him, and they reported, "Hey, there's a guy with an axe who tried to kill us with an axe." The police did nothing, and that guy with an axe subsequently murdered 2 people.
With an axe?
With the axe, because eventually he's going to find somebody he can outrun, and he did. So what I'm saying is, if you don't stop axe murderers while they're attempting to axe murder, eventually they will succeed in axe murdering people.
If this goes on, I mean, that's such an obvious observation.
It seems obvious.
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
That if you're in any way abetting axe murder, then you're against civilization. That's the way it looks to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see, I'm trying to understand motive here. I can't relate like you. But you're against
Yeah.
the whole project if you're allowing that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we should, a controversial position, but I think we should arrest axe murderers when they first attempt to axe murder, not after they've succeeded in doing so.
And I think we should assign at least some of the blame for the axe murders to the people who allowed this guy to wander around with an axe on Market Street trying to kill people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's this whole movement to decriminalize crime.
Oh, I've noticed, yes. What is that?
Madness.
Yeah.
Like to make crime legal. Like in California, you can just steal things and nobody does anything. It's like fully legal to steal anything under $1,000 in California. That's why they now have to like lock up goods behind these glass and plastic walls. So you go into the supermarket and you can't even get toothpaste. And this has actually been particularly difficult on small mom and pop operations because they don't have the resources of a large corporation. So it's put a lot of small businesses out, just killed them.
So when you're at dinner parties and you make these points, what do people say?
Well, actually, I think I've been able to persuade people that we really we need to reverse course here. I think I have actually been able to persuade a number of people, and I think there actually is now a ballot on a California ballot initiative to recriminalize theft. You know, guys, there's a reason why we criminalize theft in the first place. And then amazingly, I think Gavin Newsom came out against that proposition. Yeah, no, honestly, he's the goddamn joker. Gavin Newsom is like from the Batman Dark Knight, the Joker is in charge of Gotham. You remember when he took over New York, basically, and the criminals roam free and the citizens are arrested. That's California. But I mean, at least there's a ballot initiative, which I think will probably pass, to say, no, it is a crime to steal things. Because people love that.
So you know Gavin, you've got to know Gavin Newsom. He knows, I know Gavin Newsom. Everyone knows
I've
Gavin
known Gavin
Newsom.
for a long time.
Oh, exactly. So
Yeah.
what is that? And he doesn't seem crazy when you talk to him in person. He's a perfectly nice guy. Why would he, and he's not stupid, why would he come out in favor of crime?
Well, his stated reason was that it would disproportionately affect people of color.
Yeah, well, again.
That was his public statement.
Right. Well, that is one of those patronizing racist positions you described at the outset, obviously.
Yeah, he's literally saying black people and Hispanics are criminals.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, it is true that crime like that does increase distrust between races. It actually gives rise to racism. It's totally destructive of the social fabric, I think. But I'm asking, what do you think his real motive is? Who's pushing him in favor of crime?
Well, I mean, there's always the Soros boogeyman.
Yeah. How real is that?
It's real. I don't think one can ascribe everything to Soros.
Right.
I mean,
I agree.
he's and George himself is I mean, he's senile at this point. He's not compos mentis. So his son Alex is in charge, but there is this whole system that Soros built up over many decades, And so I guess Soros and like-minded people or whatever, they believe in open borders. They believe we shouldn't prosecute crime. This is insane.
Those seem like expressions of hatred toward the United States. Like if I was pushing that on a country, I would only do that if I hated the country and wanted to destroy it.
Well, it's anti-civilizational. I mean, and Soros and similar organizations have been pushing this in Europe and other countries too.
Yeah.
Everywhere they can.
What's going on in Europe, would you say? Europe suddenly seems like a different place.
Well, I mean, my biggest concern for Europe is that the birth rate is half replacement rate.
Yes.
So Europe is rapidly becoming, with each passing year, older and older, with fewer and fewer young people. So I think at a most fundamental level, unless Europe has a birth rate at least roughly equal to replacement rate, it is in population freefall. Population collapse is what's going on in Europe. So there's also like a shocking amount of censorship. You may have seen like in Britain, I kid you not, how can this be real? They are releasing convicted pedophiles from prison in order to put people in prison for Facebook posts.
But to be fair, those are posts that criticize the government, so they have a good reason.
Well, they would actually, some of these posts that at least the ones I've seen, didn't actually criticize the government, or they were seen as sort of as hate speech.
Right.
So
because they noticed the society getting crappier and crappier with every year, and they said so.
Yeah. I mean, there were, and this is I'm simply stating a fact, there were migrant rape gangs in England that would run around and prey on young girls, gang rape them, and some people found that objectionable, which obviously it should be objectionable, and they were upset about that, and so they complained about it online, and were sent to prison. That sounds crazy.
So it is crazy, and that's like...
Like, what?
Well, it is, so it kind of gets to the, I mean, you're an engineer, so you're
it's so mind-blowing.
It is mind-boggling. But it's the same, you use the phrase mind virus, but it's behaving like a virus. It's infecting people and making it impossible, apparently, for them to make rational decisions.
Yeah.
What is that virus?
You know, someone I think you should interview is Godside.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Oh, I should watch that, actually. He's great.
Yeah, smart.
Super smart guy.
Yeah.
And he wrote a great book called The Parasitic Mind.
Yes.
A very good book. Highly recommend it.
Yes.
Where he tries to understand how do you get to this parasitic mind situation. And he's writing a book now, which hopefully he'll publish soon, which is about suicidal empathy, where you have so much empathy, you're actually suiciding society, or so much perceived empathy. It's not actually, it's called shallow empathy, not deep empathy. Deep empathy would be you'd want the society to continue. Shallow empathy is you have like empathy that's essentially skin deep, and then you don't, but it's ultimately bad for civilization and results in the destruction of civilization. And Gotside's got a good term for this, suicidal empathy. So he's going to sort of deconstruct what's where does this come from, yeah, I mean, part of it, I suppose, is sort of the decline of religion. So, as the saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum. So when you have essentially a decline in religion, an increase in the secular nature of society, for most people, they need something to fill that void. And so they adopt a religion. It's not called a religion, but effectively like woke, the woke mind virus. It takes the place of religion.
Yes.
And they internalize it and they feel it with religious fervor.
Yes.
And
rigidity.
Yes. And they essentially conduct like a holy war, effectively. It's just not called a religion, but it is a religion, sort of a woke holy war. And they're highly resistant to change, as is normal for religions. So now, for myself, I sort of see myself as a sort of engineer, physicist. For me, I'm culturally Christian. I grew up Christian. I mean, I was Anglican, was baptized. I went to Sunday school.
Yeah.
Actually, oddly enough, I was sent to Hebrew preschool and Anglican Sunday school at the same time. So it was Hava Nagila one day, Jesus Elo the next, which is, if you're 5 years old, it's fine. So, but I'm not Jewish. It's just that my father's 2 partners in his engineering firm went to the same Hebrew preschool, and it was near our house, so I just got sent there. So, but I maybe this will make me even more enemies, but I have trouble sort of believing all these stories, these religious stories, but obviously a lot of people do, and I respect people who want to have religious views. I'm not trying to dissuade them from their religious views, but anyway, I'm just saying, I guess the operating system I have is sort of a physics engineering operating system where I try to understand as much as possible about reality. In physics, you're not supposed to believe anything absolutely. You're supposed to question things. That's how you discover new physics. In engineering, that's how you discover if your machine will work or not work. Will the rocket get to orbit? If your rocket is designed with physics in mind correctly, it will get to orbit, and if it is not, it will not get to orbit, no matter what your belief system is. You can believe, whether, it's like I meet a lot of people, speaking of LA, I meet a lot of people in LA who believe witchcraft is real, and then you can do spells, and that spells and witchcraft, magic is real. I'm like, can you magic us to the moon? And no one has yet been able to magic us to the moon. Like, spells can't be that good. Okay, if you can't, I want to go to the moon. Let's go. How about Mars? And
we got to the moon the first time.
We definitely went to the moon. Yes, we went to the moon. We didn't go to the moon. We went to the moon several times.
Right. Oh, I just want to check your view on that.
We 100% went to the moon. I know in depth the technical designs of the rockets, the spacecraft, everything.
Yes.
What went right, what went wrong, it was a remarkable piece of technology, like incredible piece of technology to go to the moon in '69.
Yeah.
That was like reaching into the future and pulling the future forward dramatically, and it was an important ideological battle with communism, because they couldn't put a person on the moon, and capitalism could.